Hello, lovely. Hopefully, you can see me and hear me on your end.
Hi. Yeah, can you hear me? Let me open my camera here. Just a sec. Um, there we are.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh! And your hair looks beautiful.
you.
Wow. And Stitch is here. I love that. He's like, yeah, I gotta hold it down. Well, I'm so happy to be with you. And I've been looking forward to catching up and just hearing how you've been
I
and
know. It
what's going
feels
on in your
uh,
world.
feels like a hot minute, doesn't
Oh,
it?
I know. So much has happened. I'm even like pretty much in your time zone right now, which is crazy because I'm in Florida.
That's amazing.
hmm Yeah, so this is like really sweet. I've
Yeah.
I'm in your time zone. I'm like East Coast girly right now.
Very good. We're both East Coast girlies.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yay.
Yeah.
So what was inspiring you to book the call today?
I think, like I just needed to take some time because I figured out, it's not to say that people weren't helping me, but sometimes you gotta listen to yourself. And that, for me, I think requires almost isolation or silence because otherwise I have this tendency that hard sometimes it's hard for me to separate, like, is it really me or is it coming from somewhere else, and so I took that time and then I was like, okay, I'm at a very kind of a crucial point, and as in my case, the trauma work never stops because that's going on the side because there's just so much. So doing that, but apart from that, I was like, okay, let me go back to the resources that I have to kind of like resolve certain things in terms of, okay, like what step am I going to take forward, which is going to come from a place that's good for me and not because I want to impress a coach or because I want to tell the world something, but because I really need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And you have so many open energy centers, which I remember from looking at your human design. So I know
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
it's
and talk about the heart, open heart, like the
important.
self-worth issues. And it's like every time you think that it's resolved, it's like an upward spiral, right? Like
Yeah.
always yeah, coming to consciousness has been interesting for sure.
So tell me about your heart.
Mhm. My heart, I feel like, it's like um that stage where you kind of like take a lot off and then something is there and maybe breathing for the first time,
Ooh.
right? It feels like that, but of course, like no matter how much you try, that conditioning and like I always say that you cannot escape the reality of your nervous system. Like you just can't.
True.
You can
True.
pretend to be an imposter in various ways, but it's just something that you have to work with rather
hmm
than override. And so, of course, like my conditioning, or you can say past or whatever, or where I come from, was very like survival reaction rooted, scarcity rooted, or whatever. And so even that makes one feel lonelier because It's like I love these people, but I feel like they are grabbing onto me and I
Mm,
can't do anything to help them. But at the same time, like I can't drown with them, even if it hurts me. And even if there is this guilt, which we've talked about, of which has always been there, about outgrowing my surroundings,
yes. So
right?
has this been happening for you recently? This
Yeah.
sensation of drowning and needing to detach from the people who are dragging you down.
Yeah, like I feel like, and even, I mean, like family, you can't really completely, cut- or maybe at some point, yes, I don't judge, but it's the same, and it's not coming from, like this needy place that, oh, mom is not there for me or dad is not there for me, but it's me observing that, oh my God, there is so much suffering, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I see my grandparents in their old age going
Hmm.
through that much suffering. And it's just this same thing that, for me is a reminder that, okay, I'm here to end this,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
But at the same time, there is this guilt because it requires actions to be able to end those things. And sometimes that involves not suffering with the people who are suffering. That involves going and being in bliss and joy alone,
Yeah, 100%.
right?
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
But what
yeah.
I'm hearing is like you're still feeling like the weight of your ancestors weighing you down.
Yeah, there and and we talked about it, right? Like how much they have. I would say that yes, they couldn't support me emotionally or in any other way, but they did support me financially. So there's that guilt that, I am here because these people put me here. They are part, so they deserve part of my happiness and joy, but it's not up to me to give it to them because they just don't want it or cannot receive it, or it's just beyond my level of understanding.
Yeah.
So,
So are you
so
feeling that guilt?
I mean, what I'm trying to say is like maybe I need some strength to become more selfish. And
Okay, Stitch is
that sounds right.
confirming.
Um, yeah.
Okay, so need the strength to become more selfish. And maybe that is also connected to your next step.
Very much.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, that resonates. Okay, great.
Mhm.
Okay.
Because like when I came to Canada 8 years ago, I was a very different person. Um, and I don't know, but this is a joke that we have in the Vedic astrology community that people with retrograde Jupiter in their natal charts get a lot of this thing that these fuckers are lucky, right? But it's like we also have different kinds of hurdles. So, for example, like in my case, I always say that maybe yes, I had a little bit of like the financial support from my family, but
Hmm.
apart from that, I mean, there's this like pain that, of course, I don't want to dump on you because that's very trauma related, and I'm working on it on the side. Is like when you're
Oh,
never,
that's okay.
like when you're never seen as a human being that has needs or feelings or
Okay.
somebody who's just
Yes.
alive and is on the receiving end of whatever somebody else is doing. And then there's this expectation that, well, it's fine. Nothing really bad ever happened to you. Just, it's all in your head, move on. So I did that for the longest time. But there came a time where I had to really, like my journey has been from, like, I always say it has been like the ultimate unconscious reality to
Mm.
try to come to the surface or whatever, right? Like, and so there is that. But in while that has been my main journey, in trying to overcome all of this, everything else take a backseat. Like career was only there to the extent that career could support this journey, right? Any dreams or passions could not completely come to fruition because this was more important. And I mean, let's not forget that, well, did I tell you I'm completely off my antidepressant medication?
I think, yeah, you were starting to do that last time we spoke last year.
Yes. So, like, I mean, we cannot forget that few years ago, like, I was really depressed and suicidal, right? Even though it is heavy or whatever, and I've come back from there, I think, like, now is that I feel like I'm at that juncture point where I'm kind of like almost ready to take the plunge.
Mhm.
But of course, that is going to come with, like I said, a different kind of a sacrifice, right?
Ooh, let's stop right there
Okay.
because that is a very interesting story to tell yourself
Yeah.
that your freedom comes with a sacrifice,
Mhm.
which means it can't be true freedom.
Mhm. Yeah. Is there anything as true freedom? I mean, apart from moksha, you can actually leave your body consciously.
Okay, I mean, that's a very interesting philosophical question, but I think that when we're talking about the nervous system,
Ah, yes. Okay.
there is a potential to feel a sense of freedom
Yes.
in
Yeah.
your nervous system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm talking about the felt experience of
Yes.
freedom.
Freedom. Yes. Yeah.
But if freedom is also coming with the felt experience of suffering, is it really freedom?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
philosophically, it's another question to talk about
Yeah, I know, I
feeling,
know.
but just the
Yeah.
feeling of it is what I'm interested in.
Yeah. I I think that's hard for me to do. Like, maybe I'm enmeshed, maybe I am, not taking responsibility. All of those things could be true. I am at a point where I don't think even I can decide, or I'll give somebody else the power to make an absolute conclusion about that. But it's true that um I think I'm at a place where I've become very different from anybody that I know.
Okay.
And
How does that feel to be different from anyone that you know?
well, honestly, in a way, it's not very different because, hey, Aquarius rising, the weird kid, like,
Cute. Right.
that has been but the thing is that it's weird in the sense that, like, okay, the one good thing is, remember there was so much anger to work through.
Yeah.
And now that I've really gone into the depths of those anger and
Yeah.
done the work and whatever, yes, there has been some felt sense of release, right? But it's almost like it feels like the next level for me
Mhm.
kind of is not it's a very weird thing to say, but I feel like, like some people are, they're cute and they're just love and light and people let them be. I think for me, if I do that, in my felt experience is like I get crumpled on. So for me to be able to get that love and light, I need to really bring out the villain era to the forefront. And I'm just a little bit scared to do that.
Okay, that's beautiful. So the reason why it's feeling like you need more strength to really take that next step and take that plunge is
Yeah.
because it's associated with this story of becoming the villain.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to become a villain. You have to
Yeah.
become a selfish villain to
Yeah.
take your next step.
Hmm. Yeah, that's what it, at least to my nervous system, feels like.
Sure.
Hmm. And then, of course, with I told you the problem of the retrograde Jupiter is that this obsession with always trying to be in integrity, what is right and what is wrong. Like I look at people, there's so many people who don't give a shit. Like
Mhm.
I cannot tell you the amount of like and please don't take this personally, not talking about you, but like so many healers, coaches, therapists, whatever that I've worked with over time. There are a lot of people that are their acts have been questionable, let's just say.
Mhm.
Okay?
Their actions, you mean? Like
Yes.
their behaviors
Their
and
behaviors, their
okay,
actions, their integrity, whatever,
their
right?
integrity, sure.
Yeah, it has been questionable. Yeah, yeah, I doesn't like not getting attention, um, and it doesn't bother them,
Right.
right? There's this way, and maybe it's a good thing. As I was saying that, I was reminded of something which I've
Good.
been working through and I can't. I think deep down from a very reptilian brain sense, I think I feel I am beyond forgiveness.
Mm.
And which is why there is this obsession in wanting to not do something that could cause harm and not do something that feels like, oh, that was out of integrity. But a part of me also knows that when you're growing, we'll make mistakes, right? Like you're training in a modality or you're doing something in your life, like even raising Stitch. I have made mistakes, of course. Did I completely ruin him? No. So I know that, or as parents or as whatever, right? Like there are going to be these mistakes that will happen. But I think I'm just trying to work through so that I don't feel this thing where I am beyond forgiveness when I'm the person who, and what kind of like perplexes me is that at this point, I have forgiven people who've done some very, very bad things to me as well. So
Yeah.
then when I
Right.
can forgive that,
Right.
why is the standard so different from for myself,
Mm.
and where is this shit coming from? Because this is what the because that this is where I want to take responsibility, because it's not about other people, right? Like
Mm.
in any relational setting, or relational space, like I'm the person who's willing to be, take the higher or be the higher person. It's okay, whatever, fine, la la la. Like, why can't I do it for myself?
Okay,
And
so what I'm hearing you say is that it's about taking responsibility
mhm.
for forgiving yourself.
Yeah, yeah, maybe, yeah. Or maybe not expecting, not operating in the world with this belief that I'm beyond forgiveness, that I make take
Mhm.
one wrong step and I will be executed and killed.
Got it. Yes, this is very like survival coded for
Yeah.
you around
Yeah.
forgiveness. So being
Yeah.
able to take responsibility
Hmm.
for the belief that you are beyond forgiveness
Yes.
so that you don't have to live your life expecting, you don't have to live your life in anticipation of the forgiveness,
In anticipation of the punishment,
the
oh,
punishment,
the
right?
punishment that,
And the
like,
lack of forgiveness.
and the lack of forgiveness. Yeah, because, like, I truly believe, and even myself or the people that I have forgiven, that it's okay, people can change or whatever. And maybe yes, the childhood or whatever comes into play, but for me it feels like somebody can make a 100 intensity mistake and nothing happens, and I make a one intensity mistake and it's like, okay, we're here to execute you now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know that in reality maybe nobody's coming,
Mm,
but there is something in the nervous system that makes it feel very real. So it starts to freeze me.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
I feel, almost like lost in a way in the world to even find my place. And I was reading about these personality patterns. It happens to people who like embodiment, right? It's so less practiced. And I feel like I can, for the first time, sense that even my consciousness has started to descend to inhabit my body. Up until now, it was like so out there
Okay.
or ahead,
Okay.
right? So maybe, yes, there are huge signs of growth. No problem there. But I also don't want to become a saint. I came here because I
Mm,
had certain desires. And now I want to start focusing on those, even though there is this unconscious force that takes over and says, no, be responsible. You're here to serve others. You cannot just do whatever you want. And I feel like it's kind of sabotaging me.
okay. Beautiful. Beautifully articulated.
Mm.
So I'm just observing that there's a lot of negativity around being able to take that next step of doing whatever you want because it's associated with a sense of being wrong, being a
Mm.
villain, being out of integrity, being selfish.
Yeah,
Those are some pretty intense stories.
I know. And even though, like, now that maybe even if I'm not repeating it to you, but I said that to you, so it is there somewhere alive, the story, right?
Yeah, somewhere between saint and villain.
Ugh. Oh, let's integrate the black and the white.
Yes.
I think, yeah, that has been my problem. Hasn't been always that. Uh-huh. Yeah, the extremes.
And saint doesn't feel good, but villain also doesn't feel good.
No, no. I want somewhere in the middle for sure. Yeah.
And what does that look like?
Well, remember that art that I created? I always know, like symbolically, that I'm not in a good state because those
Mm,
arrows with the
yes,
arms open,
yes.
they were moving in a circle. That is balance.
Mm,
And sometimes the curled up right? So I think that's the thing. The curl up happens, and then the anger kicks in, which is healthy anger, because it's basically my life force yelling that,
Mm,
I cannot allow you to be stifled. Like,
very
what
good.
the hell? And then I have to control it because otherwise, the villain comes out.
Hmm.
Her.
Yes. And you want to take the next step. Do you have a sense of what that step is?
Honestly, like, no, but I mean, I don't want to make it exactly like, oh, I'm going to be a coach and I'm going to do exactly this and it is how it's going to happen or whatever. Um, and, but yeah, like, I think I am training to get there. Like,
Okay.
I'm upping my own embodiment practices, and those are helping me. And like I said, that yes, for me, I wanted to maintain a certain level of a standard because no offense, like I completely understand. I actually feel envious that there are people who can prioritize their well-being and say, I need to make this money, so even if I end up not, delivering to a client, it's okay, but it's paying my bills. That's great. Somehow, I don't know, like this moral compass that I have is so huge that I feel like half of the times
That's not great.
uh,
Coaches are meant to get their clients to an outcome.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I have the select few people, which I've over the years refined, that are helping me. Yes, so there's inspiration to take from that too. But
Mhm.
that's like to give you an idea of like why I am taking my time to do
Okay.
something, right? And then of course there is talk about, but are you trying to procrastinate by doing that? And I feel like I don't know, because if you work from logic, you can use logic to disrupt another logic. It is possible, right? But for me, I feel like it was necessary that I take the time for my own darkness, because you can't take a client where you've never been, right?
True.
So, so it's just that piece, and I feel like that is something I'm going to do, but I don't know if it is going to be in 3 months or 3 years. That's a
Mm.
huge difference.
Well, it might never happen if
Ugh.
the step is somehow connected to being executed, right? No one's going to take that next step if
Hmm.
there's a biological fear
Hmm.
of annihilation.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate what you just shared because now it's like coach as archetype also feels a little bit like the villain because coach has been out of integrity. Coach has taken money without delivering result.
Yeah. Or coach has projected on their clients and made it worse for them. And I
Oh,
can forgive that because I understand. At least I feel like I might do that once in my career because it's difficult. I know. See, the forgiveness is for there for other people. But
yes, the forgiveness is there.
I cannot have like if I did that, oh,
Mhm,
it's going to be a huge thing, right? You see, like this is what I'm trying to get out of.
mhm, mhm. But if you did that
Mm-hmm.
and your client was honest enough to
Mm-hmm.
share their authentic experience with you,
Yeah.
I have a feeling that you would find a way to make it right.
Yes. I will. I will. Now comes the other fear. This is,
Okay,
I'm gonna make it
good,
complicated for you.
good.
You know, okay, the other fear is like, how the thing I told you about beyond forgiveness.
Mhm.
Like, say, for example, um, the fear is then that, like, when you said that, yeah, I was gonna do everything to make it right, but like the fear is also in terms of attracting people where that I feel like, okay, on one end I have been this huge forgiving person, blah blah blah, whatever, and the other is, I, in a felt visceral sense, is almost like being executed by your own clients.
Mm, okay, so also the client could see you as the villain.
Yeah, yeah, when all I'm trying to do is really help them see themselves.
Meaning they're seeing the villain in themselves,
And
projecting it onto
on
you.
me. Yes, yes. That's scary because that literally has been my experience since childhood up till now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I know it's irrational, but I can't run away from it because it's just so visceral in the moment, right? Yeah.
Yes, true. That transference is something that's very, very common in the field of psychology and is discussed consistently, in the industry. So it's irrational, but it's very normal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, like it could be even something very small, like a small level of transference will always play out. Like we play out that all the time, right? Like, um, but it's just I'm talking about like which now, if I think about it, I know that in a way the chances of that happening are not big, but still it's like get out of my system,
Sure,
right?
sure.
So yeah, yeah, and then because of all of this, there comes the thing where it's like, oh, go back, let me look for a job, blah blah blah. And up until now I mean, I would say universe supported me to live a little bit of projector's life. I was able to get some scholarships, some, just do learning stuff and not have to worry about bills for a bit. So that was great. But that era has ended.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And now, so there are some conflicts. One, there is a conflict of this like not caring so much that I have to be so responsible and never take advantage of the resources that I have, and being actually go and take advantage of those. So take a month where completely surviving off your savings, not doing shit, and then take the risky plunge of starting this thing, right? Where, which is, of course, going to be scarier than having a salary, right? It's so many things, like we don't think about it, but the salary mindset is also going to play because nobody in my family has ever done a business. They all rose to the ranks, but it was through corporate or government positions. So there is nobody who can even tell me or guide me. And I'm not talking in terms of like the systems, like that's easy thing. I'm talking about the emotional journey to be able to shift your identity or your mindset that you're going to be okay with some months no clients, some months a lot of clients, right? And it's going to be, but there will be more time, more freedom. I cut my hair to swim more. Let's make that happen. I didn't just
Love
did it.
it.
Yeah,
Love it.
right. Like, look at me right now. I was feeling so fragile, nervous system wise. Like, I couldn't even take care of my hair.
Mhm.
Like, I felt like, no, I don't want to condition them. I don't want a hair mask. Like, get rid of this shit. Like, clearly I'm on some kind of whatever. But in a way, it also feels good because, hey, for the first time, let's not forget, me, as in my consciousness, is also enjoying being in the body because it was never there before,
Congratulations. And
right?
also, hair is an extension of the nervous system, and cutting off a lot of hair can
Yeah,
be a release of old DNA, old patterns. I think
right?
you did it in a very intuitive way.
Okay, yeah, good. Because symbolically, I was feeling way lighter for sure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, so I think it's just that, and it's a little bit of the, like the. I was talking to someone I know who has coached me before, and they said that this kind of loneliness, it's okay, it's normal because, you know, right now I'm in that phase where, well, the kind of people or my tribe has not come yet.
right.
But as much as I love the people who have up until now been part of my journey, I cannot help them and I also cannot suffer with them,
Good.
right? So it's
So,
like,
yeah. So that you're like making space for the new to come in,
yes,
but
yeah,
we're still like in the limbo of needing to make those choices and
yeah,
take those steps that open the field for the
open
people to come
field
in.
because like for I mean, I'm not here to judge anyone's choices, but for a lot of people, it has to be as extreme as they go no contact or completely cut off some friends or family or whatever, and I understand that. I'm just trying to um find a way so that, because see, I came to Canada. This could be the ultimate separation, but I brought all of that within my nervous system, right? So
True.
actually the true freedom that we were talking about is like release that from the system rather than like, oh, I just want to go completely no contact with everybody.
That's the good first step, releasing it from the nervous system.
Yeah, and yes, as if with doing anything new or whatever, I know people are gonna call, they're gonna say whatever they have to say. I just have to be like, doesn't matter, don't care, whatever.
Well, let's go deeper into that. What do you feel is stopping you from feeling okay with being the villain in someone else's story?
I guess, okay, like I don't know, maybe I'm still trying to prove something. Like when you were a kid and you didn't mean anything wrong, but everybody told you that you're bad or
I have
you
lots of memories like that. They're painful.
right. And it's harder because it's like even my mom, and now I understand that, she has her own nervous system that I will never understand and her own fragmentation or whatever. But imagine like even your mother accusing you that you're doing something purposely to hurt her when you're not.
So, what's hard about that? What's stopping you from feeling okay with her behaving like that? And these are just, these are questions that are
Uh,
just for reflection, you know?
yeah, I know, of course. I think it's just that like how do I say? Maybe I am making the mistake of feeling that like I don't know, but
Let's not call it
a,
mistake.
a belief like there is. Can I share something kind of dark with you? Is that okay? Like imagine I came to Canada, right? Nobody here knew me, whatever, and it was like my first job. And
Yes.
I had no idea, but a director level employee got fired.
Okay.
And then um I was called and there was police in there and they were like, we are legally required to show you this email and you have access to protection services for this long. And in that email, this guy who maybe interacted me and he wrote a lot of shit about other people, but they thought this was um like I don't know, they thought that it would be good to have police involved for this, who basically said something like that he wanted to knock me out and shave my head.
Oh, Aqsa, I'm so sorry. I never knew that.
I know,
That was
and
at your previous job?
that
Like
was
during
my,
our sessions
my
where okay, your first
no,
job.
that was
Okay.
my very first job in Canada.
Oh my
So
God, that
it's like
sucks. Oh, I'm
it's
so
like I
sorry.
sometimes feel like I don't know what I do to keep attracting this shit. You know
Well,
what I mean? Like this was a guy that is not even my friend. He is a fucking director in a company. It's like my existence provokes him to do these bad things to me.
mhm, mhm.
And that is some kind of a weird fear that, it's like what? Like I am not even allowed to exist.
There we go. And maybe that's what your mother taught you when she was raging toward you for doing nothing wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
And
you're not
so,
allowed to exist.
yeah, exactly. And it's just like, series after like whatever series of accusations or
Loves
whatever.
you. He loves you. He's saying you are allowed to exist.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that,
Yeah. And, you know, you didn't provoke that man to do that horrible thing, but you have a button that was installed by
mm,
someone else,
mm,
like your mother,
mm,
and then other people come along and see that button.
right.
Some of them are in a place where they
That,
can't help but push it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. Yeah.
And so it's about deinstalling the button.
Yes, so how do we deinstall the button?
Yes, well, I think that's the button that we can start to reinstall in this session. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So you're a villain for existing.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Mm-hmm. That's what it feels like.
And what does that feel like, sweetheart?
It's just like a very visceral fear, like,
A
and
fear.
fear, and of course, like, imagine people go, they want to do better, which I think I'm getting there, but let's not forget there was a time I was suicidal, and there's no reason that somebody would just want that for themselves. And
Yeah.
not in the sense that I'm ever going to do it, but that thought often comes back, which is like, I've seen enough of this bullshit, like I just want to be free. And I know freedom can look like all of this, which we're doing the hard work to get, but sometimes I wouldn't be so free to just exit this place, like, because it's not worth it. Ugh,
It's not worth it to feel fear just from existing.
yeah,
It's not worth it to feel fear
fear for
for
just
existing.
think, yeah.
It's not worth what?
Um, I mean, like if I understand my nature,
Mhm.
it's peaceful, it's loving, but you cannot just sit and be there and be like, oh no, that's what happens in my family. Like I'm sitting there, people are volatile everywhere. What are you going to do? Then you have to bypass that peaceful and loving nature to take on a role that then people are like, oh, we were right about you. You are a bitch,
Mhm. Yeah, I get that.
right? And I would have never done it if I was just let be. But no, let me first provoke you, cause a scene, do whatever, whatever, whatever. And there comes a time when I lash out,
Mhm.
or, and then it's like, look, this is what I was saying. We're right about you. You're violent. You're bad. You're whatever. So it becomes like this. I'm like, I'm not going to enter this kind of a verbal whatever because I know the truth. And I'm never going to win an argumentative fight with people who just know how to twist words after words. And which is why, like, once I thought maybe I should become a lawyer, but I was like, I'd be doing the same
Yeah, I
thing.
know that feeling.
Right? I'd be doing the same thing that I hate other people doing. It's like, they want to control the narrative so much. So, yes, even if I'm the person that I know and it's fine with me, but for how long, I cannot also pretend that it doesn't affect me because
Mm.
it does.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Right, it kind of like does, and maybe that's the fear, to eliminate that the people who are coming in and who also want love and peace are maybe more capable of handling a conflict in a loving way, rather than what I have seen in the world where, oh, you upset me by existing, I'm going to take a drastic measure, like you have fantasize about debasing you in whatever ways.
Right, right. Exactly. Okay. And then to feel affected by that and to react from that place
Yeah,
justifies their original insult toward your character.
yeah, and at that point, I think honestly, I feel broken because it's this weird situation. It's like very Kafkaesque that you've not done anything right, but you for the first time stood up for yourself, and then somebody painted you as a bitch. That I knew this about you from this get-go.
So that's really interesting. You said you know that you didn't do anything right, but then they're painting you as the villain. Maybe that was a little bit of a subconscious slip because what you meant to say was, you know, you didn't do anything wrong.
Right. Wow, that's a huge slip.
Well, it's subconscious, and
Yeah,
these things come up to help us in the
yeah,
de-installation of the button
yeah,
because the button might be saying, I
yeah,
can't do anything right.
yeah,
Whether I do what I want to do and I'm
yeah,
happy, it's
yeah.
wrong.
Right.
Whether
Yeah.
I react with the feelings of sadness and anger and fear that come up in the situation where someone wants to humiliate me,
Mm.
I'm also not right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's confusing to know which is the right step to take next if there's a button that says, I can't do anything right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that other people are right when they say, you
Mm.
can't do anything right.
Yeah.
just because you exist. You
Yeah.
didn't do anything right.
Yeah. Yeah. And yes, I like that because yeah, like consciously we know that that's not the case. Like consciously, if you see, I've been rebelling since whenever, right? But unconsciously, yes, that makes sense. That is there's the script. And so how do we, and this is I think something I'm also doing on the side in my trauma work, which is like building self-trust. So I think this is also along the same lines of like how can we um, develop this trust that this feels right to me now, so I'm doing it. It is
Mm-hmm.
possible that later on I might not think it's the right thing and change course, but
Yeah.
I trust, right? Like, I think you're right because it's exactly that thing which governs a lot of the, like, when I say like I struggle to find my place in the world, I think there's a connection there.
Hmm. Like,
You
where
know,
is your right place?
where, yeah, whereas, and then comes that weird homesickness of like, I don't want to be here. This doesn't feel like home. I want to go wherever I came from. Now I think I'm working through, like, as I'm feeling more and more in my body, I've done this thing where every time I feel like that, I would just feel how am I in my body? Have I returned here? Or am
Mhm.
I somewhere else floating?
Well, I mean, this might feel a little unconventional, but I'd like to go back to what you were saying when you were talking about leaving the physical body, talking about suicide as the solution. Because what you were saying in relation to that was, it's just not worth it to live a life with a fear of existing.
Yes. And I feel helpless in eliminating that fear. Trust me, I have tried so many things.
I know.
The amount of money I have spent, I could have done a
Yeah.
down payment for a house, right? And I'm not even like, I don't understand why it's so much more powerful than my willingness to eliminate it.
It's okay. It's okay. That's what we're doing right here, right now. That's what we're doing.
Yes, you're right.
It's not worth it.
Mm, yeah.
It's not worth it to live a life where you're always wrong, where you
Mhm.
can't do anything right, where
Yeah.
you're wrong just for existing.
Yeah.
And when you said it's not worth the what? It's not worth the what?
Uh, I think maybe a combination of both the things. One is like the fear itself, you
It's
know,
not worth the fear.
and also the abuse when you
Hmm.
don't deserve it.
Yeah. It's not worth the fear and the abuse.
Yeah. And so sometimes it feels like if this is me and I have to constantly face this, it is better
You?
to not be here and not
Is
face
it
it.
you?
What, sorry?
Is it you?
Is it me as in the person who's experiencing?
Is it you as in the person who is wrong just for existing? Is that you?
I cannot say I'm wrong for existing,
Okay. But
but the it's like someone who's I feel this image of like somebody with so many shackles and they're just trying to break free, but sometimes
Okay.
somehow the shackles are like overpowering them. So
Yeah.
they feel like, oh, it's difficult to do this, being in this body, but if I just exit the body,
Yeah.
I don't have to care about shit.
Yes.
But I mean, now that I'm kind of like more getting in touch with the body, there are other things the body offers which I love. That's and maybe that is my little bit of the entitled part that I want the pleasure, I want the good things, but when it comes to these really dark things and experiencing them, I'm like, nope, I just can't. That's it. Yeah. But they are living in here, uh,
Uh-huh.
I mean, right? And it's just like I don't know if it's your storyline is like this, but you know what I always feel jealous of is like you hear these stories where somebody was struggling or whatever, and somebody came and they really saw their pain and they offered them some words of encouragement, and that really made a difference in this person's life. I feel that the more people see me struggling, or up until now, whatever I've attracted, the more they take a chance to like I've had an intern once tell me when all of this was going on with the this director being fired and this nonsense, even though she didn't know all the dark stuff and all. I mean, how do you just walk up to a person? It's like, oh yeah, I know people like you hate yourself. I don't think I can
She said
ever.
that to you.
She said that to me, and I don't think that I can. So these are the things that just shock me. Like, they shock me. Maybe my dad is right. I'm very sensitive. That it's difficult to be somebody like this and survive in this world. That shocked me so much because I don't think I can say that to someone ever. And I don't want to tell you the hundreds of this is to give you an example of what causes that shock to leave the body.
But from the perspective of a shadow work practitioner,
Yeah.
those triggers are really valuable moments. And
Mm.
even if it was hard to hear that,
Yeah, maybe there was a bit of truth.
because there's pain
Yeah.
associated with that,
Mm.
which you didn't want to feel, and it felt unfair that someone who barely knows you could say
Yeah.
something that would bring that pain to the surface. In a way, it might be where we need to go because those chains that keep coming back,
Mm.
they're only able to do that if there's a part of you, even a 1% of you, that agrees that those chains are there for a reason,
Mm.
that agrees with the lie
Right.
at the
Yeah.
root of the chain.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, these moments catch you like consciously, you might tell yourself, like, oh, I love me and I'm this, I'm going to stand up for me. But when you're not expecting it and something happens,
Of course.
then when it catches you by surprise, that, oh, I thought maybe I was doing progress in terms of my self worth and self love, but clearly not, because as soon as this happened, I curled right back in.
Which is a loving way of the universe trying to put us back on our path. Sometimes we need the thunderclap, which I can definitely relate to. I'm not immune to that in my own life.
Mm, yeah.
So, but this is where we need to go.
Yeah.
Do you sometimes hate yourself for existing?
Maybe it's true because one of the things that I have observed in myself is that the love and nourishment that I show for people that I love, I don't see that I give it to myself. Right? Like I've seen and I've learned a lot with Stitch. Like when I am in a very calm, loving energy, you should see Stitch. Like he rolls right next to me and starts to purr because that presence is so strong in the moment. I don't know how to create that containment for myself
Hmm.
because maybe there is a little bit of the I don't know, the reactive feeling of like, oh, nobody did that for me. Well, my grandfather did do it for me, and I can't blame him for getting older. So I have to do it, right? And maybe that's the thing, that it will happen slowly, and I just
Doesn't have to happen slowly.
doesn't. Okay, that's
Doesn't
good
happen
news. It can happen.
slowly.
Here, let's make it happen faster.
Yay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the beginning, you said that you needed the strength to become more selfish.
Hmm.
Where does that strength come from?
Um, Maybe love, yeah. Yeah,
Baby love?
maybe love, yeah.
What's important about love?
Love, I mean, well, I always say love is consciousness. It can melt so much. I mean, in a way, I know, let's talk about the positive things I kept, but I told you about this, my weird, it's very woo woo, but nobody told me ever. I was a complete atheist or agnostic or
Mhm.
whatever, right? But through dreams and an obsession that came from no place,
Mhm.
I established a connection with Shiva. And I will sound like, one of those crazy people, but sometimes that presence is so strong. I am only in tears and melting away. It sustained me, Altair, because there was nothing else.
Mhm. Where were the chains in that moment?
There were no chains. Like literally I could die in that moment. Like and sometimes that connection's very strong, sometimes it fades away, and then I try to crumb up in his grace whenever he wants to show up. But when it is strong, I can tell you, like, that is love. That is love.
Okay.
That is
And
it.
is, sorry, go ahead.
And so yeah, I cannot deny what love is like. And that's what the message in the dream was. That how can someone who is so loved by me be so scared?
Mm.
That was exactly what he was saying in the dream. And I'm just not able to combine these two things. Like when I feel his presence, like once I took a very long walk in the night, even though it's Canada and Halifax, but it was great because I felt like something was right behind me. And some people might think I've gone crazy talking this bullshit, but I I don't know, maybe I'm delusional, but it's a feeling. I can't explain it.
So, where is Shiva?
People say he's just consciousness ready to penetrate and bloom you. And maybe because I come from India and my dad used to do local theater as Shiva, I just knew his iconography and some things. And as a child, I was taken by my neighbors a lot to Shiva temples. But after that, there was no connection for the longest time until an obsession out of nowhere. And I started by just listening to his music. Like I never
Shiva,
did.
Shiva comes out of nowhere.
Shiva comes out of nowhere. An obsession starts out of nowhere. Dreams coming out of nowhere.
Mm.
And me taking deliberate steps, as in music, sadhana. What can I do to find? I don't, nobody told me. It's an obsession that hijacks me. And then a connection is established. And now, when there are times where I'm about to like give up, or there are just times where I start to feel him closer, right? It's just in the body or whatever. It's a different thing. And so, but what I'm trying to tell you is that is love. In
Yes,
those moments, there is nothing else but love.
but it's coming from outside of you. It's coming from a nowhere place. It's coming from a temple. It's coming from a dream. It's outside of you.
Yeah, it's outside of me. Yeah, but for
So,
me,
and I just want to make sure we're like staying on track here, which is why I'm interrupting a little bit, just to guide the conversation so we
yeah,
make
yeah,
the most
yeah,
of our
yeah,
session.
of
So you're really
course.
getting the
Yeah, but yeah,
right.
maybe it's coming from outside. Like I don't think I can have that state in me whenever I want it because but maybe I can have some kind of love that is within me.
Because you mentioned that the fear is
Yeah.
living inside of you,
Yes.
and that belief that you can't do anything right is inside of you.
Yeah.
But the love is outside of you.
Yeah.
So, what's the interaction here between the outside and the inside?
I think maybe you can say that in these moments, maybe not so much, but it has been that fear has been just there, and love was something that I had to really strive towards.
Mhm.
Like, there is love that is attachment based, which you get in your family. But to understand the true nature of love, um, I think I really had to work very hard for it. I had to scream and cry for it. And maybe I understand it, but I don't know how to hold it. And maybe I cannot hold it because there is so much fear or whatever that is there. So maybe that's the shift to drain out the fear and start holding love within.
So, you had to scream and cry for love.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's what you learned.
No, I mean, I screamed and cried in a lonely place so when no one could hear me. So I could understand what love is. Like, I literally asked the universe to show me
Mhm.
because I knew that this is not love.
So when the universe showed you, what
Mm.
about that was not enough for you?
It is enough, but I think like it is enough that I'm ready to die in the moment, but it is like maybe my inability to grasp and channel it.
Sure. So why wasn't it enough to help you live in the moment?
That is a good question. I don't
No rush to answer. Yeah, let's just sit with it.
know.
When you asked for the universe to show you love, and
Yeah,
then you received it in this mystic res
my God. I just had a very weird thing where I was like, oh yeah, I've enjoyed few moments of love, but it's almost like there's a part that's saying to be in that 24/7, like maybe I'm either not worthy or who am I to even claim that for myself for 24/7. It's like when you make a dessert which is so good everyone gets a little bite, but you are saying that I want the whole cake for myself. I It was like this kind of an intuitive feeling.
Okay, beautiful. So it wasn't enough to feel that love. It wasn't enough to want to live because you're not enough
Yeah.
to receive it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hating to admit that right now, but
It's no
yes.
judgment from me.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's true. It's true. Yeah. And it's good that I'm facing it because yeah. And I don't know how to make myself feel worthy.
Mm-hmm. It's not about making yourself feel worthy. It's about questioning what made you feel unworthy.
Ugh, that's just like everywhere. Family, friends,
Yeah,
you name it, girl.
yeah,
Some mentors, hush hush on the
sure,
that I have parted with.
sure.
Yeah.
So is it true because they told you that?
No, I feel like to me it feels like they didn't tell me that, but there's this feeling that people, like you said, that button already exists
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and people can see the button.
mm-hmm.
I don't know how to hide or get rid of the button, and that kind of makes me feel a little bit more
Okay,
unworthy.
okay. Right, right.
Like, because it's not like somebody is coming and directly telling me, oh, hey, Aksa, listen, you're unworthy. But there's a signal cue
Yeah,
that gives them enough unconscious information that, okay, I can get away with anything as far as this person's concerned.
right, 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 right. So the problem is that you don't feel worthy and you don't know how to feel worthy.
Yeah, maybe it's about needs. Like, still ask me, it is difficult for me to assert needs, even
Mm-hmm,
in my 30s.
mm-hmm. Okay, that's a symptom of that.
Yeah.
So in
And
your 30s, at this point in your life, what's stopping you from feeling worthy?
I think this is something that maybe I don't want to face, but I know it's good for me that I find that worth inherent within, and which is why the universe maybe is doing everything to isolate me and keep me lonelier.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I guess for people like me who are exiled from everywhere, there is a need to belong. And
Okay.
the universe is like, well, no, that's not happening for you right now. We're gonna isolate you further.
Need, there's a need to belong to
Mhm.
these people who have abused you.
No, there's a need to belong somewhere.
There's a need to belong somewhere else.
Yeah. And maybe I try to convince myself I belong with Stitch. That's a great thing,
Mhm.
right? But I think, but then that's the thing, right? Like we also see that maybe that somebody mirrors things back to you for you
Mhm.
to it even, right? So how do I start to mirror worth back to me?
Mhm.
Because the people I know, I mean, no judgments, they're just incapable.
Well, listen, you said that there's a need to belong.
Yes.
You've also said that you are wrong for even existing. Okay. And this paradox holds a key for you.
Okay, I'm gonna write this one down.
Right? Because on the one hand, there's a need to belong.
Need for
And
belong.
on the other hand, you're wrong for existing.
Yeah, so how can I belong? Yes. Mm.
How can you belong isn't necessarily the question. I have to agree with Shiva here that the question is, how could you truly believe that you don't belong when I created you in this universe?
Mm. I wish I had an answer, but I don't.
You
I'm
don't
gonna-
have to respond right away. Silence is one of the most potent aspects of this work.
Okay,
You can just
okay.
repeat things and let them settle and see what bubbles to the surface. How
Yeah.
can you question your belonging when Shiva created you to be here?
Well, now comes out the anger. Well, Shiva, first of all, put me in exile himself. And I had to go through decades of my life to find that connection back.
So you've been a victim of Shiva.
I don't know, but my life is always like that. Whatever I am given, my essence is opposite to that. From a child, as a child, I was a Sanatani, born in a Muslim family. As a child, I was always all the things that didn't fit
Mm.
to where I was born.
Mhm.
And that made me, I don't know, like I couldn't tell my parents that, I like this more than this and be okay with it. India, people get killed for changing their religion.
So you're a victim to your parents and
It
a victim to Shiva.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm a victim to anybody, but all I'm saying that is that maybe there is some amount of grief in having to um, go through these experiences when your essence is very different to what you've been handed over, and you have this conflict of, oh, maybe I should just accept this, but I would not accept. I chased him to Canada.
So there's the grief underneath the anger.
Yeah. Yeah, because I just don't know, it's like Why couldn't I be a person who had the same set of beliefs and the same set of understanding to the people that I was around? But it's like I have always been somebody who just doesn't fit. And that intimidates people because they're like, what the fuck is this?
And you're angry at Shiva for putting you there.
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
Mhm. So you're feeling like a victim of his choice.
Well, not really, because now that I'm connected to him, it doesn't matter because now I know that even people who go to temple every day don't have that connection.
Okay. So you have a special connection and you don't even need to go to temple every day to feel that.
No.
So where's
Maybe
the anger now?
maybe I'm just being a brat because I'm just like, hey, it's like I don't even know. Like it's like, maybe people understand love and belonging in very different ways. And I have had a journey that is in a very different way. So yeah, this is something I told you, but I can't even tell this to friends and family. They're gonna put me in a mental asylum
Sure,
because,
sure, sure. I get it.
right? Like, yeah. So you see things that I can't talk about because everything
Too
about my
much.
life is just weird.
So where's the anger now in relation to Shiva giving you a weird life?
I can be angry with him because when you feel so much love, it just melts everything. So can't be angry. But yes, I didn't appreciate the shit show to get here.
Okay. And
Yeah.
where's the grief now in relation to Shiva?
Well, I mean, he's beyond everything. I'm still a human, so I have to feel grief because, I am neither am I attempting to surpass my humanness. Like, I feel grief. My grandfather is, in his old age, he was my first introduction to what love and safety could be. And, he might die.
So where is the love right now?
So the love is in a very esoteric form, right? The love in the human form is about to go away in a
Mm.
few years. This love is in a very esoteric form, very strong, more stronger than the love of any humans for sure. But because I'm human, I have a need to feel that love. Well, Stitch is one.
Okay.
Yeah. And I guess maybe now I'm at a point where I maybe know what connection and love feels like, not regurgitate intellectually, but I've yet to find um, someone to feel it with who is also human. Because as much as I love my friends because they are caught up in their own family drama so much that sometimes I feel like I'm more their therapist than actually feeling a connection and love with them.
So what about feeling it with yourself?
Love is relational. I don't know if you can, maybe I can try. How do you reflect it back to you? Like, yeah, like if I am sitting in a frequency and vibration of love, I can just be there. But I feel like more benefit is to somebody who's on the receiving end. Like the pleasure I get when Stitch rolls and like purrs and he is like somewhere, I'm like, wow, okay, the power of presence. I would like to play the feminine pole sometimes, you know,
Yes.
and I maybe I can play it with Shiva, which is amazing because nothing's beyond him, but maybe I don't know, it would be like you are doing right now, containing me, which is love in a way. Yeah.
Okay.
So, right. So I guess maybe it's time to hope and dream and maybe go after Shiva. Give me people I can experience this with. No. Oh, I have to experience this myself.
Because guess what? That's what your current button is saying. Give me people who I can currently experience this feeling of being humiliated and debased and being told I'm not right for existing. Give me that.
Ew! No,
Ew.
I don't want that.
So we can take away the button, but we'd need to replace it with something else.
Well, the button should be that I am a person who is very much capable of love and connection, and people should come to me to experience love and connection. Hmm.
And so, how can you demonstrate that love and connection first so that people can feel it and come to you and push the button?
Oh, making self loving, self honoring choices every day.
Hmm. Does that feel fun or does that feel kind of annoying?
And the mix because the transitioning. Yeah.
Okay.
But,
What what is it about the transition?
well, like, I think for me, how do I say, like, with like mother wounds, there's so many nurturing wounds as well, right? So one is love as in a perception that you feel or whatever, but then comes this whole thing about self-care, which I think gets entangled, and just because that's the thing about women in my family. So talk about the number of things one has to overcome in life. So
Well,
we'll
and that's an impossible thing to overcome because self-care does not lead to love.
right.
Love leads
Lead.
to self-care.
Yeah, okay. Well, I
And
I
you know the feeling, which
mm,
is all you need.
yeah, maybe practice it more.
Are you open to that?
I guess there's no other choice.
Well, how does it feel to think about practicing love more?
Amazing, but there's also the part of I want to keep it secret. Top
Keep
secret.
secret. Tell me more about that. What's the value of the secret?
Because love always I don't know, I get questioned for being loved. It's um like people questioned so much my grandfather loving me that it was ultimately taken away from me and I was sent to boarding school.
And how does love respond to that question?
I don't know. Love just says that we're gonna do everything to be in love, to feel love, and even if it means protecting ourselves from people who are trying to take our love away.
Ooh, powerful.
Yeah.
I heard love.
You heard love?
I heard love in that. Absolutely. I heard the voice of love.
Yeah. So top secret.
What is important about keeping it secret?
Because then other people are going to come and question it.
But what does that matter if you have a response?
Do I?
Didn't you just?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe I can protect myself and my love. Yeah, you're right. No chickening out. Yeah, we don't have to keep it a secret. That's the scariest thing for me to do,
Hmm. Say
to
more.
be, to be seen by others in love or around love or whatever frequency of love. Yeah, that's scary.
It's scary to be in the frequency of love,
To be seen by others.
to be seen by others in the frequency of love, which is
And
why we want
I'm,
it secret.
which is why we wanted to keep it secret in the first place.
Right. It is scary to be seen by others in the frequency of love
Yeah.
because they question it. But
Yeah.
how does love answer?
Love is tired of being kind to unkind people.
Mm.
Yeah.
Does that make love a villain?
No, love wants to be because love is fighting for its right to exist.
Oof.
Yeah.
Love is fighting for its right to exist.
Yeah.
Is there anything wrong with that?
No.
No. How
Love
come?
has to exist. Love has to exist.
So love is not being a villain for protecting itself from unkind people.
Yeah. No. Love is just being love. Yeah. Hmm. Love is just being love. Yeah. Wow. That's a big permission field for love to be love in all its expression.
Because it deserves to exist.
Because it deserves to exist. It deserves to flourish. Yep.
How come?
I don't know. Existing is not enough for love. Love wants more.
What does love want?
Yeah, it just wants to bloom, just wants to expand, just wants to flourish.
Mm.
Just, yeah.
It just wants to be more love.
Yeah, it just wants to be more love. It wants to be like itself. It doesn't want to change itself so it can survive. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I think this is huge. Wow, we should have recorded this all.
I think it is.
It is?
Yeah,
No.
I can
No.
send it to you, sweetheart.
Okay. Oh yeah, it is recording. Yeah, please.
I automatically record because who knows what affirmation or breakthrough or whatever
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
through. And
Wow. Ooh, this was a huge and deep one, eh?
Do you mind sharing what you're experiencing in your body in this moment?
Release.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, actually, I feel love in my body in this moment. Yeah, I do. Feel
You
it.
are feeling love in your body,
I am. I'm
not
trying.
in the temple,
No,
not in Stitch, not
no.
in your dream,
Yeah.
in your body.
Body. Yeah.
Can this love go away?
No, it's always there. It's my job to connect with it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
How does that feel for it to be your job?
I don't know, like maybe it's just how do I say this? Like when you are out of practice of something, you have to maybe do it more consciously. Like imagine somebody who just had an idea of love
Totally.
and spent their whole life chasing, screaming, whatever, and finally they have a taste of it.
Yes.
And so like to be able to, it's hard for me because yeah, I get lost and then I come back again, and I get lost and I come back again. So maybe this is the time when I try to start solidifying it more, right? So that that connection is not like lost for more time, but
Hey,
we come back to it more frequently is, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
come back to love more frequently.
Frequently. Yeah.
If you do that, the next step
Yeah.
is going to make sense to you. Okay?
Yeah.
And I'm here for you to help
Oh,
you connect that more
yes.
frequently, but ultimately, it's going to be your way of being. But in the meantime, I am here.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I just want you to know that you can never be wrong in our conversations.
Thank
Okay?
you. Yeah.
To me, you can never get it wrong.
Oh, thanks. That means a lot.
That's just the truth. And sit with this. I'll send you the recording, but feel free to book another call whenever it's feeling like the right moment to tune back in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna do that.
Bless you, sweetheart. Sending you much love.
Thank you. Yeah, and please share the recording and have a great rest of your day. Thank
I will.
you.
I will.
Oh.
Okay. Take care, sweetheart. Bye.